everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Buying and Selling with Bree, and my name is Labrita Dukes. First of all, I would like to thank everyone that has tuned in or will be tuning in to watch my podcast. I would like to start off with asking people, or how was your holidays, or what did you do, for the holidays? I hope you spent your time with family and friends, and what did you all eat for your meal? What did you get, for your gifts? I had a wonderful Christmas. I spent time with my family. We played games. We ate. We didn't do the traditional dinner. We had gumbo. It was really good. It was really good. We played Taboo, and we played another game. I can't think. My grandbaby had it. It's the game that you have the initials like do as I say, not as I do, DIS or whatever. That was the best game we had. We had so much fun, and I hope that you and your family had a wonderful Christmas. And I hope that you saw family that you just hadn't seen in years. And we are headed into the new year, and I hope that everyone have a wonderful new year. When you celebrate and when you go out, please be safe. It's a lot of people out there drinking and doing whatever they got to do. Just be safe when you go out there. But today, I just want to recap. You know, uh, 2022. 2022 has been a rough year. It's been a rough year for the buyers. It's been a rough year for, sellers. It's just been a rough year for the lenders. And the reason it's been a rough year is because the interest rates have just, you know, the interest rates went up. They raised the interest rate to try to, even the market out or flatten the market out. But by doing so, a lot of buyers, you know, didn't buy a house, or they was afraid to buy a house, or um, they just didn't qualify for the house, that they want. And the market earlier in the beginning of the year for sellers, you could get people were getting giving over asking, and you was bypassing the appraisal. And but see, now with this market, um, sellers are some of their houses are sitting on the market longer. Some sellers are still now they're helping towards closing. Some sellers are giving you longer periods, not a longer period, but some people may need 45 days to close. But the average closing time is still 30 days or less, depending on the buyer and the lender and the agreement with the seller. But sellers now are just, more flexible. They are willing more now to negotiate, you know, the deal. Like, I have a mentee. He's buying a house. I think it's in Flower Mound or Frisco, whatever. The house has been sitting on the market for a minute. Um, the house was priced really well, priced high. And he gave him a certain amount. The inspection came back. It needed some foundation work. Um, he submitted the offer. He sent everything to the seller's agent and asked for so much off the house, and they agreed. And they gave him money towards closing costs because that was in the listing. So right now, um, sellers are just, especially with this person, they had already had another house. And sometimes people that don't have another house, sometimes they just still, are ready to get rid of their house. So I want to also talk about, since I'm talking about um, houses and the interest rates and the market like that. New construction right now. If you are in the market for new construction, this is the time to buy. Builders are giving incentives. Some of them are giving up to not $10,000, but some of them are giving up to $10,000. Some of them are even reducing the price of the house. Some of them are a lot of builders now, they don't give you blinds anymore. They give you the sprinkle system and the fence, but some of the builders now are giving you refrigerators, they're giving you washer and dryers, and there are still a lot of builders that don't give you the garage door opener. But some of them now are giving you the whole package. They're giving you up to $10,000 off. They're reducing the price of the house. They're giving you blinds, they're giving you refrigerators, they're giving you washer and dryer. They're giving you, all those incentives. But also, please understand, when a builder gives you those incentives, sometimes you have to be under contract with that builder, by a certain time, because those incentives can change from day to day. Um, and a lot of the incentives that the builders are given are on spec homes or inventory homes, which they also called. And with the inventory homes, that mean the house is already built, that mean the house is already ready to go. Majority of them are ready to go. There may be a few inventory homes that may have a little touch up or something that they need to do, but you still will be able to close within the 30 to 45-day period. Um, when you do find a inventory or a spec home, I still recommend a inspection. Get a home inspection, and just to see if there is anything wrong with the house that the builder may fix or correct before you move in. Now, on a house that is completely ready to move in, some things they may fix and some things they will not. So it depends on what you, as the buyer and your real estate professional and the salesperson, is what y'all, what you all can agree to come to. Now, the spec homes or inventory homes that are that they're building and may be ready in the next 3 to 4 months, as long as the sheetrock is not up, that's when I really would get. If you put a house under contract and they still haven't sheetrocked the contract, the home, definitely get an inspection, because with the inspection, when the sheetrock is not up, you can make sure that all the wiring and all the electrical things, you can make sure that that is in order, and they can probably agree to fix it before the sheetrock goes up. Because once the sheetrock goes up, um, you as the buyer, you as the real estate professional, you won't be able to see, what's going on behind it. And also too, on those homes that still, you can still probably put a contract on, but may not be ready for the next 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 months. Remember the selection of the brick, whatever colors they have in the house, that stuff has already been picked out by the salesperson or whoever does their selection process. But also too, if it's not at a certain stage, maybe the salesperson can say, hey, you can change this, you can change that. But just know, once the brick is picked out, you can't change the brick, you can't change the elevation, but sometimes they may let you change, the granite in the kitchen. It really all depends on the builder. Every builder has specific guidelines, every builder has specific rules. But I do know with most of the builders, once the sheetrock goes up, you know, that is it. That is definitely it. And also too, um, if you are getting a new construction and you don't want the inventory home or you don't want the spec home and you want to build your house from ground up, please be there as much as possible. Please make sure that they communicate with you. Um, just make sure you be there. They need to tell you what's going to be done day by day. Sometimes they may forget, or you ride over there and you be like, oh, they did that. um, Sometimes the salesperson may have gotten busy and they may want to update you, but just pay attention to the steps that they're going through. And also too, if you are doing a new bill and you're doing it from ground up, when you sit down with your real estate professional, they will go over everything with you. They will talk about, they'll make sure everything is in the contract, make sure everything that they are offering is in that contract. If they're taking the price, some lowering the price, make sure that's there. If they're giving you money towards closing costs, you make sure that's there. Sometimes the builder give you money towards closing costs, or you can do that, or buy your interest rate down. It really all depends on your financial situation, and every buyer is different. But whatever incentives they are giving you, please make sure that it is in your contract. And also too, when you are with a builder, you do not have to use their lender, but a lot of the builders are requiring you to still get pre-approved through their lender. Um, and that is so you have an outside lender, and your lender may say, well, you qualify for this house, because every lender has different guidelines. Every lender has have different requirements that they have. So to make sure that you qualify for that property that you are trying to get, they just want you to go through their lender to see that you're pre-approved. Now remember, some of the incentives that they are offering, if you do not use their lender, sometimes they won't give them to you, but if you have a good real estate professional, he or she can negotiate that as well. I have a question here. Is there a deadline set once the bill start? How does that work? Is there a penalty? Okay. When you are doing a new bill, a new construction, yes, they will not give you a definite date of when the completion of the house. Even though the market has kind of cooled down a little bit and it's not like it is, there are still a lot of shortages on some of the things in the house. So if you was to put a contract on a house and they say it takes 6 months, what's that, June? But also remember, the weather comes into effect. Um, when you first do a contract, they'll submit the contract, they sign the contract, you do everything electronically, they'll send it up. Once it comes back from corporate, then they'll do whatever they got to do. By this time, you done picked your lot out, you went out there and you took your pictures. So, hey, yay, you done took your pictures. Then they have to send that up to start building that house, which is, to get a permit, which that may take, depending on what city and what county you in, sometimes that may take up to 30 to 45 days to get to permit. Once they get the permit, you will see them start putting the house down with the wood down. You'll see all them laying the house out. So once they get that going, then you know that the permits have come back. And every house has a step. Once they do that, then they'll lay the foundation. Once they lay the foundation, they have to let it sit, they let it dry, then they'll start framing and do stuff. They'll start framing. But every part of your house has a process. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you as the buyer and you as a real estate professional, your real estate professional knows that there are certain steps. But you as the buyer may not know that, and you will make sure that you keep in communication, communicate with your real estate professional, to ask them questions about your home. And sometimes I want you to understand, as a buyer, you may go out to the property more than the your realtor go out, because of course they have other clients. Of course, too, it also depends on where they live. And so they may not be able to get out there, every week. And also too, by the salesperson sending updates, that'll help a lot. But if you are able to go out there and take pictures and physically see it, I recommend that you as the buyer, that you do that. And the real estate professional, they will go, when the time allows. And getting back to the build date, there is not a definite date on when the house will be finished. Everything will depends on, like I said, the permit. Everything will depend on the weather. Everything will depend on supplies. So sometimes, most of the time, when you sign a contract, it'll have oh, we can close in September by that date. But before you get up, they will tell you that's just the estimated date because it depends on, you know, everything, what's going on in the economy. And also, too, as a buyer, when you sit down and you pick out your things, or um, especially the brick. I've seen this happen to my client. We picked out one brick, but that brick was no longer available. So she had already had a second choice. And so, that's what we went with, was the second choice. She wasn't happy about it, but we had already picked some. So be mindful of a shortage of the supplies. Be mindful that your house could be ready, but they waiting on the stove, or they waiting on the dishwasher, or they waiting on the water heater and stuff like that. So, just be mindful and be patient. And most of all, as a buyer, you have to make sure that you communicate. And I recommend that uh, sometimes the salesperson may not even pick up the phone. So I recommend that you email them so you'll have everything in writing, that that you want to know, and they can answer your questions. And whoever is on the loan, please make sure that you give them, both of the addresses. But most of the time, if the salesperson is not busy, they will call back. Like I said, if they don't call back, they will send an update. Um, Always take pictures. Always ask questions as you as a buyer on a new construction. If you see something that you say, okay, what's that? Make sure you ask. If there's nobody around at that time, write it down, send an email to the salesperson, and let them get back with you. And like I said, at a certain stage of the house, you want to make sure that you get a home inspection done. Um, that way you'll know that everything is functioning. But yes, that's how the situation works with the new construction. So again, with new construction, everything will depend on you. Everything will depend on the supplies. Everything will depend on the builder, because the workforce too has been another issue for the builders, a shortage of labor. So, take all that in consideration. And I also do recommend you, as the buyer, you go to different builders first before you make that final decision. You sit down, you look at the price, you see what they're offering, who has the most house for the money. you know, sit down with your significant other and you make that decision, and then you let your realtor know, hey, let's go over here and we're going to check this out. So just make sure you have different builders that you go look at. Just don't choose the first builder, or just because your friend there bought that house. Just go to different builders, and you just never know, because the incentives that somebody got last week may not still be the same incentive this week, because it's up to the builder to change the incentives when he wants to. So remember that as well. All incentives can change at any given notice. It is up to the owner of the company when to change the incentives. And so let me also now talk about on pre-existing homes. The market itself is at a point now where pre-existing homes are staying on the market longer. Um, Not a little longer, but some of them are staying on the market longer. They're not 2 and 3 days anymore, unless it's just in one of those neighborhoods that everybody wants to live in, or that real estate professional, they advertise for the house and they send it out coming soon, and then people were buying. But a lot of the houses are staying on the market a little bit longer. Now, sometimes just because the house stay on the market a little bit longer, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the house. It's just the market that we're in. So just be mindful of that. But sellers are, not all sellers, but some sellers are giving a little bit more now towards closing. They're negotiating a little bit better. We're not in that market. I don't think that we're doing the bypassing the appraisal. You know, people are, some people still, when it was like that, they didn't get an inspection. So that's one thing I always recommend as an inspection is as a buyer, is to always get an inspection. Always get an inspection, to see what's going on. And when you get a pre-existing home, just remember there are going to be things that that's just going to be happening with the home. That's different than a new build. You're going to be the first one to move in that house, and not saying that it's not going to be any problems in the new construction when you move in, but at least you'll be the first owner of that house, and you can get the situation fixed versus a pre-existing home. um, when you have an inspection, it's up to the sellers. Once your real estate professional submit the repair amendment, but it's up to the sellers to say yes or no, they can fix it, or you all can negotiate what to fix and what not to fix. So there are a lot of pre-existing homes. They are in excellent shape. They are good. So like I said, so it doesn't matter whether it's a new build, it doesn't matter whether it's a pre-existing home. Always remember to get an inspection. It just really does not matter. But again, even on pre-existing homes, always look at more than one. Make sure before when you contact your realtor, just kind of have an idea of where you want to live. Um, this city or that subdivision, because it'll make a lot easier on us to say, hey, we got houses over here, we got houses over here. You want to go take a look at them. We'll send a list to you, and then you select the houses that you want to go see. But also be mindful, if you are approved for 350, there is no need to go look for a house that's $400,000 because your max is 350. So always remember just not to disappoint you or anybody else, because you do have some buyers who maybe they'll come down $50,000. No, they just not gonna come down $50,000. So whatever you approve for, stay in the realm of your approval, 350 and below, because there are a lot of houses out there now, even with the pre-existing homes. Some of the houses have gone back down. I'm not gonna say a lot, but some of them have gone back down. Can you explain a little bit more about that? What do they want me to explain? Can I have more information about what are you talking about? But again, pre-existing homes, some of them are in great shape. Get your inspection, sit down and talk to your real estate professional, to just make sure that everything is okay. You sit down with he or she, and you go over the report together. And when you get your inspection report, please make sure to send it to your real estate professional. But it's still up to you as the buyer on what you want to the agent to submit. So the question that I have is, they want to talk about the approval amount. So again, what I was saying was, if you are approved for 350, there is no need for you to go look at a house that's 400, because your pre-approval amount is only going to be 350. And you also too, before I even when I get a client and they have a pre-approval, the first thing I do is, once I get the pre-approval, of course I sit down and I do a buyer's consultation and we talk. Then I'll call the lender and I ask the lender, hey, is this the max that they're approved for? And they be yes. Do they need any help with closing costs? And they'll either say yes or no, because all lenders know that sellers will pay some closing costs, but not all their closing costs. But always remember, as the buyer, to always stay within your pre-approval amount. It is better for you, because once you submit for your loan, your lender is going to give you a loan estimate about how much your payments are going to be. So if you are right there at that point where I can't go over that, why look at a house over the price? Just stay within your budget. That's just like when you go look for new construction. Stay within your budget, because you go to that builder with 350. Like I said, you can still use your lender, but also too, when you use your lender, always make sure, it's not always going to happen, but see if your lender can match the incentives that the builder is giving you. And always sit down and talk to your real estate professional about the pros and the cons, about using the builder's lender or using your lender. So just make sure whatever you do, you always sit down and talk to your real estate professional, because that is the person. They're never going to guide you wrong. They're always going to ask the question for you. They are always in your corner. We are always in your corner. We're going to make sure that everything is right. If we see something, I know I do. I always say, "Hey, what about this? Why this isn't done?" Because when you're building a new home, or even when you're looking at a pre-existing home, you need all eyes on deck to say, "Hey, what about this? What about that?" You always got to make sure. And if you are a couple, just try to make sure that both of you all go at the same time to look at the property, because sometimes the sellers work at home, and sometimes now they only allow showings on certain days and certain times. So if it is possible, make sure that you all both can go again at the same time. But again, I keep getting the same question. Stay under your pre-approval amount of what you was approved for, because like I said before, just because you approved for 350 by this lender, the builder may say, well, according to our terms, we only can do 325, but this is the plans that we have available, and it may not be the house that you want. So just be mindful of the things that may or can happen. So that's how that works. And so on any bill, on any house, whether it's pre-existing or pre-approval, you do have the process, you do have steps that you have to take. So be mindful. Um, as the buyer, you're going to have calls from different people, but please make sure you verify with the lender who is going to call you. Try to get the name of that person, because with everything going on now, you just don't know. But you as a buyer, regardless of whether it's a new bill or pre-existing home, you will get a portal from the lender, and that portal will have all the documents uploaded up in there, what's required from that lender. But always remember, as a buyer, I probably would be too. Well, I had 5 people to call me today. Just make sure before you get out any information, or before you just send an email back. You just call that lender and say, "Hey, do you know this person?" They email me. That's just precautions, because you are dealing with a lot of information. So you just want to make sure that your information is getting to the right people. I want to also just let you all know that if you are ready to buy a house, it is still time to buy a home and still be in the house within the next 30 to 45 days, or whenever you want to. It's still a good time. The interest rates are going down a little bit, so please be mindful. Those 3.5 interest rates, they're not here. And with the interest rates being where they are, it did kick a lot of people out of buying a house, or a lot of people qualified for a certain house, and then when the interest rate went up, they no longer qualified. So it is still time to buy a house. Um, get your vision board ready. Set your goals. Do whatever you have to do. If you don't have a realtor, I am a realtor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I am retired military, so I help them all: veterans, first-time home buyers, sellers. If you want a mobile home, if you're looking for an apartment, I can also help you with that too. I have lenders that can help you. If you're a veteran, they have FHA, they have VA, they have USDA, they have conventional loans. So just give me a call, and call me at my number is rolling at the bottom of the screen, or I will say 817-975-9284. Just call or text me, and I would be very, very much glad to help you. So let me say this one thing before I leave. Every buyer qualifies for a different loan. Some people may not qualify for conventional. Some people, it might be better for them to go FHA. So always remember that the lender is always looking out for your best interest. So you might want to do conventional, but your income or your debt or your credit may not have been to the point where you could go conventional. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to my show. My time is up. I will be back the last Monday in July. I want to wish everyone a very happy and safe new year. Again, you're looking for a house, just call me, Labrita Dews, 817-975-9284. You can go to my Facebook page. You can go to my website. I have TikTok. I have Instagram. You can just inbox me or text me at any time, and I will get back with you as soon as possible. Oh, I have one more question. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Craig, please call me tonight if you don't mind. Just give me a call and I will set up a plan with you to get a house. That's anybody that's listening. Some of you all want to buy a house and you may not be ready for 6 to 7 months. And I still may have to send you to the lender, because the lender is the only person that can tell you what you need to do as far as your credit, or whether they the only ones that can tell you when you may buy. So if there's anybody out there, you need any information, like I said, buying a house, selling a house, you need an apartment, you need to lease, just give me a call, Labrita Dews, 817-975-9284. And thank you for tuning in to Buying and Selling with Bree. Lord's willing, I'll see you all January, fourth Monday in January, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in.